This is it, ladies and gents. The Premier League kicks off in an hour. And Forest, this time tomorrow, will we have 3 points? Will we have one? Or will we have none? We're going to get into all of that now. Welcome to Grumpy Old Reds Live, the season opener. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Welcome to the weekend and hope you're having a wonderful day. And we have, of course, we had to go with the OG GORs here for the opener. Hope you guys in the chat are doing well. And let's start off in a good, positive way. Forest Till I Die, thank you so much for becoming a member. You absolute legend. Welcome to the family. Good to see all the regulars starting to stream in here as the weekend really does get underway. And I just saw a quick comment as well before we went live. Where is it here? Michael saying, will the full BBQ be uploaded on YouTube soon? It's on its way. We're editing it. There's so much content going on the 3 channels right now. Bear with us, guys. Apologies, but we got the first half out, so that's on for the members. The second half, I'm hoping will be edited and be on maybe Sunday. Be funny to watch that because we speak about the Arsenal in that, don't we? But speaking about Arsenal, we will be covering that off tonight. But let's start by saying hello to our ugly old Reds. How are you, Ez?
I'm all right, bud. I'm buzzing. I'm looking forward to the season starting.
Good. Forest Ant. Is that the Arsenal shirt or the Forest shirt? I mean, we're both sponsored by Adidas. Could you just confirm?
There's only one shirt with 2 stars on it, mate.
That's
true.
And Dino flexing the Argentina/Greece top. How are you, bud? 2 stars
good,
as well.
Buddy. Same as Ez. I'm looking forward to the season. Miss football. Miss Premier League football.
I'm quite excited to watch this Burnley Man City game. I don't want to talk about them, but I just want to see how Burnley are going to play. I'm quite intrigued by that. But anyway, who gives a crap about that? All right, guys, we're going to try and build the atmosphere up for tomorrow, right? We need you in the chat, those believers in there who think there is a hope in hell that we come away from not high bracket Emirates with at least a point, shall we say, or some dignity intact. Shall we start with that? And yeah, just very quickly, make sure if you haven't submitted your fantasy Premier League team, make sure you click on that link there posted by Ez. In fact, we'll pin it to the chat. Get in the FFTV PL.
You won't get in for this week. I just let you know. You missed the deadline for this week, and you're because that was at 6:30. But keep an eye on
they
that.
might have already had their team in, so they can just join the league. Still, the team will count. Yeah. So if you haven't joined the league, make sure you join the league. Eddie's saying sorry, not pissed enough yet to get all happy clapping. Okay, boys. Usually I'll go around and pick someone randomly, but I want to do this a little differently, right? Out of the 3 of you, who feels there is a chance? In the words of who was it who said so? Oh, in the words of Dumb and Dumber, yeah, Lloyd, Jim Carrey.
Cool.
Yeah. 1 in a million. So you're saying there's a chance, yeah? Who wants to step up and be Lloyd Christmas first? Dino, my God, that was not the finger I was expecting to go up.
No, I was saying, do you mind if I go to the toilet? Listen, make this up. There's always a chance, isn't there? Arsenal could have a really bad day. We could have a really good day, and we could scrape 1-0 or 1-1 or 0-0. So, but me and my prediction's still staying at 3-0 Arsenal. I think they're going to be too strong for us. But there's a chance. That was the question, and that's the answer. There's a chance.
There's always a chance, man. There's always that unpredicted result that could happen. And you're nodding. Am I sensing the vibes, or you just turned into the church?
No. It's one of my sayings. This is football. So, yeah, of course there's a chance. Wimbledon beat Liverpool in the FA Cup final. Wigan beat Manchester City in the FA Cup final.
Now? 88.
I'm grasping, mate. I'm grasping. You know what I mean?
88.
Actually, I think it was 1988, I think. So you weren't...
it was 88. Oh, it was 88.
88.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to point out a few oddities in the world of football, and they're the 2 that spring to mind. So,
and you're clipping back 14 years.
Go on, Samir. 1-0 to the Forest.
Yeah, that's about as much chance. That about sums it up. You're right.
Samir. Fair play.
Yeah, but Ez, are we overhyping Arsenal in this, or are we under expecting from Forest? Because Arsenal, as good as they are, as good as their team sheet looks, this was the same kind. It wasn't this bad, the vibe in May, but you'd probably say the majority of the Forest fan base and the Arsenal fan base, regardless of what had happened in the league, we're still expecting Arsenal to come to the City Ground, and let's just say not lose as a given, yeah. And obviously, Awani chucked it in, and scored the goal. So, are we over worrying about a team that is renowned for bottling, or is it just too early in the season for them to bottle? Before you answer, massive shout out to Eddie for the great day on Sunday. Eddie, thank you so much, coming all the way from Suffolk to be at the barbecue, the absolute legend, and his beautiful wife as well. It was an absolute pleasure to spend time with you, both at the barbecue and after.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great to meet Eddie and Lisa on the day, and they did stick around for a while and chat to us afterwards as well. So hope you got home safely, guys. Echoing, aren't I? Am I echoing?
No, you're good.
Anyway, to answer the question,
safely, otherwise he wouldn't be in the stream, would he? Think about it.
He might be tuning in from hospital. You never know.
On his deathbed. No, we don't want that for Eddie.
Let's go. Right. If I remember the question, to answer the question, I think they came in, obviously, I think they just had we were going in through a bad spell at the time. The confidence was shot. Man City were a runaway train. I think all those combined, and with us kind of like playing the low block that they hate playing against. And if the guys haven't watched the box to box with AFTV and the stuff that we did with James as well, that Salah did with James, please check it out, because they speak very educatedly on the way that they expected Forest to play, and they'll tell you that they hate playing against the low block. It's the worst formation for them to play against. But having said that, they're at home. The only hope I'm going to give us is that we could get a goal from that, and I'm putting Danilo maybe to sneak a little goal for us, but I still think we'll be struggling to come away with anything from the Emirates. But it's the first game of the season, and like Ant just said, anything can happen in football. I'm not going to go back 40 years for an example, but it happened last season. You know, Man United start to the season, they lost their first 2 games, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, bottom of the league. Just
early on in the season, anything can happen, and we've got a horrible run of fixtures, especially away from home. And you know what? If you really think about it, you'd rather play them now and get it out of the way, because the season's just going to get harder from now on in. But yeah, I can't see us getting anything apart from a goal from tomorrow, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, but on that point, Dino, and yeah, Pat, I'm with you there. Seriously, that whole get it out of the way stuff, that kind of most of the fan base has been, trying to make themselves feel better with. Is that not dangerous as well? Because you're potentially going to end up going on a bad run, and you never want to go on a bad run, regardless of who you're playing and how good they are and everything. Yeah. If we end up on a bad run of 4 away games, and then it puts the extra pressure on the 2 home games, this is my worry. So saying get them out the way, is that a bit too generic? And should we be trying and get a couple of points out of these? You know what I mean?
It's a marathon, not a sprint, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm bought into the get it out of the way. Listen, we've got to play everyone at some point twice. So, it is what it is. So we've just got to deal with it. It's got to deal with it. Do you guys think that the changes in the timings for the games are going to be a good factor for Forest or a bad factor for Forest?
I think that's the least of our worries, mate. I really do. I think that's the least of our problems.
We're going to be playing longer, aren't we? I just can't figure out in my head whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I think we'll discuss it later, but I can't see it being a positive for Forest, mate, to be honest. No. But we can discuss that.
I mean, as regarding the fixtures, I mean, you're absolutely right. We have to play everybody twice, but I mean, I'm trying to really grasp at some sort of consolation here. I'd rather have these games now than at the end of the season. That's about as much as I can go. I mean, I'll be honest with you, those away games, I'm not expecting anything. Simple as that. But let's get them out of the way, see where we are. Hopefully, we'll have players coming back. Hopefully, we'll have a few more transfers coming in. We may be in a better position, not a better position after 6 games, but be ready. Actually, more ready to attack a new season than we are now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man, you say you'd rather have them now than at the end of the season. I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, we've got Man City and Chelsea right at the death of the season as well. So, yeah, it's at the City ground, but...
Yeah, but that's a big thing for us. But that's a big thing for us. at the City Ground. It's
Do you
massive.
think it will
for
still be big this season? Do you think, like, if we go on a bit of a loss streak or something, could the atmosphere die out? Is it the whole honeymoon period of the Premier League's over, or do you think, come what may, those 30-odd thousand are just going to be singing their hearts out all game?
I believe for this season, I think they'll still be there with the same passion and encouragement. I don't think it's going to turn. Not unless it gets ridiculous, obviously. If we're 10 games in and we've not got a point, then yeah, it might change. But I think generally speaking, I think our fans, I mean, I know for me personally, I'm proud of our support at home. And I want, every time I go, I want to contribute to that because I'm proud of it. I'm sure the rest of the fans feel the same. So I want to keep that reputation we have of being a fearsome ground to go to. And that does, I think that does play a psychological effect on the opposition as well. When they're coming to play Forest, I don't hear any fans say easy game, no matter who they are, when they're coming to Forest. So I think it's vital we keep that. We need to. Not necessarily as good as it was, because it was outrageously good last season, let's be honest. But, you know, at least some way to that.
I think he'll still be good. I mean, if you think about it, if we did play behind closed doors like we did in COVID times, then I think we'd probably lose more than we win at home.
Well, that cost us, didn't it? Playing.
I mean, they are the 12th man, like I've never seen before with any club. You think back to sorry to mention the Liverpool European nights at home when they turn around a 3-0 defeat and come back for 4-0 in the home leg, and that fans, it does have a factor, definitely. There's a factor in there, definitely.
Holy crap! Will, the biking legend, has just gifted.
Oh, wow.
5 memberships. William, what are you thinking? That's too generous, man. Thank you so much. That's way too generous. We really do appreciate it. And again, thank you for coming down to the barbecue last week. And it's gone to DC. Make sure you thank the legend that is Will. Olis as well. Or is that Olis? How do you pronounce that?
Olis, I'd say.
Olis, thank you so much. Well, make sure you thank Will and congratulations. Midas, make sure you congratulate the big man. And Sarah, there you are, Sarah. She had gifted before. Welcome back to the family. Yeah. So you guys can get to watch all the barbecue stuff because that's for the members as well. But that's way too generous. Well, thank you so much. There's a comment made that I just want to bring up. And I think this is an interesting thing that we do need to discuss. And for the life of me, I should have started it and I can't find it. Here it is. It's from Michael. He says, we are massive underdogs, but at the very least, I want to see a performance and clear passage of play. And this is really what I want to move the topic onto, Michael. It's like you're in my mind, bro. It's in my mind. If we are all expecting to lose, yeah, and I think let's say 99% of the fan base or whatever, again, thanks, Will. I want to know, what are we looking for in the game? Because if everyone's just expecting the loss, it's a pointless exercise, isn't it? So, Ez, let's kick off with you. What should we be taking away, win, lose, or draw tomorrow? What are the nuggets, the seeds that you want to see coming out of that game?
Mate, I want to see minutes and legs tomorrow. No, I'm joking. I want to see.
Yeah, you keep talking backstage. All right, let's try again.
I want to see.
Many minutes and legs as well.
I want to see why he persisted with this formation all throughout pre-season, and if it's going to make any difference whatsoever. Because tomorrow, if we come out tomorrow with a smashing like we did the last time we were at the Emirates, and there's no progress whatsoever, and the pressure's just going to mount. So for me, he has to basically get what Forest need to really do away from home this season. Not be overawed, because this is the second time we're going to these big stadiums, so they shouldn't be overawed by the stadium anymore. Make sure they're settling into some sort of play where it's not a case of they score 1 goal and 2, 3, 4, 5 going after one after the other. That sort of stuff has to stop. So for me, just a positive performance where we're not getting hammered tomorrow would absolutely do me, because I don't expect us to come away from any points. If we do, obviously it's a bonus, but the most important thing is that we don't get hammered tomorrow. And with these run of away games that we've got coming up against the toughest teams in the league, if we can stop that kind of play from last season, which was absolutely appalling to watch, and this is where the term happy clappers came from, because these guys were walking out of the stadium still clapping the players as if they've done a sterling job after losing 5-0 at the Emirates. That's, as long as that stops, mate, I'm going to see that as progress. But I really need to see why he persisted with this formation throughout pre-season, and if there's any fruition for it in a game that's actually going to matter tomorrow. We don't expect to get anything from it, but we shouldn't be going into it expecting to lose either.
Dino, what about you? I know we usually just bounce the questions around and don't echo chamber like some places, but I want to echo chamber this one up. Well, maybe not, because you're probably not going to agree with what he says. So what are your thoughts? What do you want to see personally out of the game? And guys in the chat, we're going to come to your comments. What do you want to see out of the game tomorrow? I've seen a few already. Get your thoughts in there as well. Go on, Dino, what do you want?
Two things. One is progress compared to when we played them. Progress compared to whenever we played the counterpart of the same venue last season. I think that's got to count as some progress if we're taking a bare minimum. So if that's a defeat by not as many, that for me is a tiny crumb of progress. From a play style, the progress I'd like to see is that I'm determined he's going to hang on for the draw with a defensive formation and a low block. But if we go one down, I'd like to see us come out and have a go. And
do you think we will? Do you think we would if we went 1-0 down?
I don't think we will, but I would like to. I know that we can. I just don't think we've got that mentality in the management team at the minute. It's almost damage limitation sometimes. It feels like.
I don't like starting the season off like this. Just the mentality of, I'm not going to speak for the fan base, but in general, we're all more. What is it for you, Anne? Are you thinking don't get tonked? Is that your kind of objective tomorrow, or do you want to see a bit more?
The way I honestly feel, I'm going to be a Forest fan now, right? And where are our fucking standards? You know, we're talking about going to Arsenal, we're going to an away match, hoping we're not going to lose 5-0. I'm sorry, that's just not good enough for our football club. Yeah. We need to go to Arsenal. We're not expected to win. I don't expect us to win. But for God's sake, let's put on a performance where we can see some progression, we can play some football, and not just go there and come away thinking, brilliant, we only lost 4-0. We're not seeing Forest. That's not good enough for me. We need to start raising our standard. We've accepted it for a season, because of we just come up, 30 new players, etc., etc. We accepted this is difficult, this is hard. We're now in our second season. The squad should now be formulated. Cooper should know what he's doing with those players, and he says he wants to play a more progressive style of football. Well, let's see it. We can't be going to the team. So what's it going to be? Go to Man City. Well, as long as we only lose 3-4-0, we're all right. Chelsea. Well, as long as we only we can't keep doing that. Who are we?
That's a great point. So are we in danger of accepting mediocrity at the moment?
Yeah.
And,
can I?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on.
No, let's say yes,
and then jump in. You know. So let's finish your point, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah, no. So are we in danger of accepting mediocrity, and does that stem from the management? You know, and what can we do to change that? Because there's a malaise in the fan base where, like you answered, just we're almost accepting tomorrow as a defeat, trying to just hope we don't get battered. And yeah, you're absolutely right. That's not Nottingham Forest. That's not the club that I grew up supporting, and I don't want that to be the case. Sorry, Dino. Go on, you jump in.
That's the club. Unfortunately, we've got at the minute though, and part of this for me is the negative football we've been playing, and the horrendous. The reason we're all going in not excited for our second season of the Premier League away game at Arsenal is because the shocking friendlies we had, the pre-season we had, and that's put, I think, everybody in this negative, including me. You know, I can't believe I actually said that. You know, a progress would be not losing by as many as we did last time round. But that's kind of what I've become now. I've been kind of almost drilled. On one side of me, I'm drilled that, you know, Cooper's of this super magician, because that's what I'm being told all the time by fans. Cooper's brilliant. And my standards are, like, I agree with Ant, they're much higher, because Ant and I are old enough to have seen much higher. So I think we've just been, I don't know, what is it? It's like it's learned behaviour, isn't it?
Conditioned. You're right. That's exactly
it's
what
like
we
when you
mean.
teach a dog not to shit on your shoe.
You know what?
It's conditioning.
Praising it for not shitting on your shoe, yeah.
Yeah, you know what, Anne? It's kind of that statement you just made. I don't know about the guys in the chat, but it felt like it just woke me up a little. You know, a little bit of a slap in the face of, because I've got the last one in the trap. I'm kind of on board with what the other boys are saying. Like, all right, as long as we don't get tongued. Basically, it's a case of don't embarrass us. If we're being frank, that's really the words we're looking at, isn't it? And you're right, man. Yes, I wasn't alive in the glory days of the European Cup, yeah, but I've seen Premier League football. I saw us finish third. I know I'm only 21. It's amazing. Time travel. Get yourself a DeLorean. But you're right. You're right, and there's no other way of looking at it. And before I let you bask in your glory, you guys, man, are just so generous. 007 Bond himself has just gifted 5 memberships. James, we salute you and we thank you. And they have gone, congratulations to Graham, congratulations to Leo, congratulations to Turbocharged, congratulations to Greg, and congratulations to Mark. And I think that's a lot. Make sure you thank the legend that is James Bond himself. And yeah, and go on, have your moment of glory, mate, because honestly, I'm not even like shitting around here. When you said what you said, it's like someone just slapped me in the face. Yeah. But how do we get to what you're saying?
Well, let me put it this way, and I don't want to start any sort of big debate about the manager or anything like that. But if the manager's not doing what we expect, then that's where the buck stops at the end of the day. I'm sorry, it does. And you know, I've said to you, I support Cooper all through last season, but this season is his test. He's had all close season to work on this. I don't see anything. I don't see any improvement. In fact, I see us going backwards. And for me, that's not good enough. I'm not saying Cooper out, but I'm saying at some point, you have to look at our results and think, why are we not getting the results that we think we should be getting? Not saying we should be beating Arsenal, but we should be performing. We shouldn't be going there hoping not to lose 5-0. That's not good enough. That's where the book stops, in my opinion.
I think there's a good comment here I'm going to bring up. I mean, we're not going to go from having absolutely horrendous away form to all of a sudden being a force away. We're not. I mean, we can all like get all excited and criticize each other when we're negative about the next away game, for example. But the fact is, we're not going to go from black to white in overnight. Okay, this is what progress would be for me, and I think Keith's probably cemented it in my head. You know, getting stuck in, making it really uncomfortable for them, and coming away going, you know what, we'll give them a bloody good game. Or, you know, whatever the result is, whether it's a win, a draw, or a loss, or a battering even, you know, we've given them a really good fight. We've got stuck in. We've got in their faces because they don't like that.
Yeah. Let's go through
Nobody minds getting beaten, do they, by a better team? Nobody minds that. If they're a better team, you've played as well as you can play with your players, then fair enough. It's when you don't believe you're playing as well as you should be playing with those players. That's when the issues begin.
Shit, and you must have slept or something, man. What's in that mug? That's Huffy Clapper juice right there.
Can I just mention, sorry, has nobody noticed in the chat?
Angry juice in here.
Has nobody noticed that in the chat about some background on one of the screens?
Oh, yeah.
Has nobody noticed that Wolverine nearly broke his back?
I've seen it twice today, Dino. I know you've been busy working, but I've been gloating in the other streams.
My
beautiful background now. I know it's not a green screen. This is, I can't reach it, but it's legit. It's legit.
I'm flexing as well. Listen, I've got back. I just realised watching you guys, they didn't give me the bloody Premier League badges on my bloody shirt. I'm going to have to go and get that.
Mine's peeling off. Mine's peeling off.
I know. You know what?
I don't know if it's bad sign. I don't know if it's bad sign. It's peeling off. And is yours still intact from the bottom? Because that's where mine's coming off from.
Yeah, this is the first time I put it on, though, to be fair.
Okay.
I've got one here.
And a few in at the, I remember a couple of barbecues said theirs was starting to peel off. It does worry me. But let's get into some of the comments.
You think they've done it so we can stick championship ones on?
Maybe.
I just want to address this one from Ian. He's saying, if Burnley turn a few heads and do well on the Prem, maybe I'll accept this is Cooper's tactics. But to be honest, I'm expecting Burnley to be cut open by Prem quality this season. That's why we're low block. I mean, the Burnley one's going to be interesting. I think everyone's going to have one eye on it. But what I will say on that one is, well, Fulham didn't low block last season. You can say all you want about they've yo-yoed up and down, but they didn't yo-yo last season. They had a very good season with a team.
Sorry,
Done. No.
I was going to say, I don't think it's a case of low block, high block, mid block, whatever. It's playing good football. But Burnley last season were like miles ahead and everything.
Yeah.
They played Man City in the FA Cup and got beat 5 or 6-0. You know, that playing that kind of football in the Championship doesn't mean you can transfer it to the Premier League. Trust me, it's a different league. You know what I mean? So
Fulham
don't
did.
put your mortgage
Fulham
on
did in a
Burnley
way.
doing well.
Fulham
Pardon?
did in a way, but I think Fulham
Anyway,
did in a
we're
way.
a season on. We
Yeah.
need not, we're a season on now. We should be progressing a little bit more.
That's a really good point. It's like, what's the next step? And next question is going to be, is this squad better than next? But a couple of more comments I want to bring in. The legend Lemmy, the absolute giant man, Lemmy, the whole 6'10" of him. He's saying, need to see a bit of fight and determination, no heads dropping after conceding, and ultimately no more injuries. He's right on that. He's just reminding me about the good old bug-offs from last year.
Yeah.
So we do need to stop seeing that.
And the long-range goals. We've conceded more long-range goals than anybody.
Exactly.
Outside the box last season.
See, Wake Up's raising a good point here. Go on, Dino, you take this one. Where are the goals coming from?
Well, I think when we play narrow, that feels defensive to me. When we play wider, like in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, I think that's where goals can come in. And with the addition of Danilo late on last season, being that box-to-box and really being keen on getting forward, we could see quite a lot of attacking prowess from him, couldn't we? Yeah. And we didn't have that all season, unfortunately. He came in late. He wasn't initially fancied, was he? And then when he found that position where he's on that box on the left-hand side, he looks dangerous. So he's almost that extra attacker. So that's where the goals can come from. And Awoniyi is really our only goal threat, other than if Jono stays and Jono's on fire.
Shall we 35-yarder, Dino? Are we done with that now?
I'm going for a 45-yard bicycle kick this year because it's equally as
clip it,
equally as a ridiculous a statement as that one. Apparently.
And where are the goals? Where to go? Because the one you might not start tomorrow.
That's my biggest worry of all. Well, partly because in the pre-season, once again, we saw no attacking intent. So it's very difficult to judge where goals could come through. Maybe Elanga will turn out to be a star. Maybe Jono will improve again this year. Maybe Wood will start nodding a few in. Maybe Tywell will get on the end of some. Maybe Danilo. But we haven't seen any of that because we didn't play the tactics to be able to do it.
Coming to the night, Samir.
So I am concerned about where our goals are coming from. I mean, I wish we'd get Mitrovic or somebody like that, but there you go.
You know what? You know what's missing? Was missing last season? Goals from the rest of the pitch. Midfielders chipping in with goals and defenders chipping in with goals.
I think
and that counts for a lot. Just 10, 15 goals from all of that lot put together makes a difference. That's progress.
Before the next person jumps in, Tom, legend, come in a member. Thank you so much, buddy. You're an absolute legend. Appreciate all you guys' support. Thank you so much, Tom. You're absolute legend. Yeah, but that point you make there, Dino, about the midfield. Outside of Danilo, I wouldn't really regard MG Dub as a midfielder. He's kind of the 10. Outside of the rest of the midfielders, as we were looking at like 1 goal, 1 assist, maybe 2 goals at a push. I can't remember who. There's a couple that got 2.
Yeah, Mangala got 1. I can't remember Yatesy getting any last season.
How many did MGW get?
He got
7
league goals.
I forgot how many goals. 9 assists and 5 goals, something like that.
So there's room for improvement there, without doubt.
There is definitely. Yeah,
that's 100%. And even defensively, Felipe's amazing goal that wasn't given, but we do need to see more from the rest of the team. We were one of the lowest scoring teams in the whole league. Massive changes do have to be made if we want to see progress, because if going back to the point earlier about if we're just settling on mediocrity, our mediocrity is getting more than 1 win away from home.
Yeah, guys, shall I go through a few? I've got it here.
Yeah, please. Yeah. We did this with your son the other day. Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about like centre-backs cut up for corners, every corner. Worrell, none. Serge, none. Coyote, none.
Worrell got 1 against Spurs.
Aurier scored 1 as well.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm looking in the wrong column. So we've got 1. All these have got 1. Bolly, Mangala, Nico, Lodi, Wood, Lewis O'Brien, Chiarte, Aurier, and Worrell.
Whoa, stop. That's not league. Lodi didn't score in the league, it was in the cup.
Oh, this is probably all the way. Yeah, it's BBC. It's all the. Listen, let's stop splitting hairs.
All I care about, and I'm sure Ant will back me up, is the Premier League. I don't give a shit about the Mickey Mouse or the FA Cup. Yeah,
scoring a goal against Blackburn in a 4-0 win or whatever, it doesn't mean a lot to me.
Well, it was 2-0 against Spurs, but I get the sentiment. No, that was you getting excited about bloody Lingard going, like, Wolverine, are you going to say he's good now? Are you going to say he's good now?
I don't remember that.
Oh, I've got receipts, mate. I've got receipts. You're like, you got to give him credit now. Yeah. Have you got the right list up, Dino?
We can all be wrong, mate.
But the point here is, Ez, I'm going to pick on you on this one. The midfield thing you were saying and the lack of goals, Dino, will buy him some time to get the stats up.
I think I've got it.
All right, let me ask the question anyway first now. You've missed your moment. The moment's gone, right? I'm looking at the three, Danilo, Yates, and Mangala. Now, individually, I would say I like them all. But collectively, as a three, we all complain that the passing isn't good enough in our team. Surely the responsibility has to lie in that midfield to be able to link the play. But how can we be hypocritical when we all like Danilo, we all like Mangala, we all like Yates, yeah? But if the passing is broken, and come on, I don't even think the happy clappers can argue with that, right? Then it's surely one of the fundamental problems is the midfield ability to pass. And if that's the case, are these the right three for us, full stop?
I think the players are right. It's just the way they're being played. I don't think anybody would doubt that. For most of last season, we played Freuler as a CDM, who's not a CDM. Then when we eventually changed it, we've got Mangala kind of playing that role, but he's not a deep lying CDM. So we're not quite playing that, but we're playing two banks of three, basically, aren't we? And in that formation, they're asked to do a very specific role. Now, if you take the shackles off somebody like Danilo a little bit, you might see a bit more progress. But I watched a couple of games that he did play in pre-season, and his only role seemed to be get the ball and try and find Jono when Jono was playing, and try and find him on the wing and try and find that killer ball. Now, it seems to be going back to Hollywood balls, and that's all we're pass it around at the back, make no progress really there, and then launch it long. That you can't say you can't say the tactic. Go on, finish. Sorry. No, I was going to say, so if they're not being encouraged to play it through the middle, and they are being encouraged to play that way, that's how they're going to play. But I don't think it's the players that's the fault. I think it's the formation and the way they're being set up.
I don't agree, Amber. I'm interested in your point, because even a 12-year-old can pass from A to B and not know what the formation or the tactics are. The passing is woeful, man. Also, obviously we're reflecting back. Nothing's happened this season, but even in preseason, which is all we can judge now, the passing is atrocious, man. You watch these shitty training videos, and they're playing with those little 5-year-old goals, and they're actually, knocking some passes in between and everything. Then they come on the pitch, and it just feels to me like rabbit in the headlights. Forget Cooper's tactics. Forget anything to do with Cooper. I'm talking about the players now. And how do they have an inability? Whatever tactic you put on, a tactic doesn't change how you get the ball from your foot to your colleague's foot. Surely. What are you on this? You agreeing with Ez? You see my point?
I agree with Ez to a degree that if they were further forward, there'd be less pressure on them because they're just under pressure all the time. And I was going to say that there are quite a few footballers that you'll have heard yourself, fucking amazing in training, pings the ball into the top corner, does it? You've not got 14-stone giant coming crashing into you when you're doing that. When you're actually playing in the Premier League, you don't have the same time as you have when you're training. Yeah, you don't have the same time as you have when you're training. That's a huge jump. So training videos, to be fair, training videos. Oh, I've got all blurred.
I prefer that.
Yeah, you look better like that.
I do prefer that.
It looks like you've got it
on the podcast, and it's gone very misty.
Yeah. So training videos don't mean a great deal. We can look great in training, passing around. Trust me, I'm not exaggerating. I'm fucking brilliant on the training pitch. Honestly, my passing is elite. Put me on that pitch and you wouldn't see me.
Dan, you're saying on a train, I get what you're saying when you're looking at it individually, like you could have, I'm trying to think of a player. Who was that Arsenal striker? Francis Jeffers is always brilliant.
Ant De Bruyne it was.
but you know what I'm saying? Jeff, what's his name? It was
Francis Jeffers.
He was brilliant on the training pitch, absolute crap on the pitch. Yeah, that's fine on an individual level. But what you're saying here, it's the collective on the team, man. They're passing fine on the training pitch. They come onto the pitch.
So what we're saying is they're not playing well under pressure, then, are they? Because when they're playing the actual game, they've got people coming in to tackle them, and they're not as good.
And that brings me back to my point, Dino. Are they the right three? Like, I like them all individually, but collectively, are we missing out? Or do you agree with Ez that it's the tactics that are forcing that depth and that pressure being built? Well, you just got to hoof it forward like you're, an under 10s or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Ez on the tactics are killing us because we're just not getting forward enough. We've got to play. We can't play through the lines because we're too deep, and they're all on us most games. So we then go to this direct style of play where we're trying to release Jono down the right, and everybody knows a short pass versus a long pass. The room for error is huge. I'd like to see. We've done it. Can you remember that move we did against Man City that was pinging it all around the park?
Someone brought it up in the chat. It was.
I mean that.
I think Wolverine's just trying to get Scarpa in the team. I think that's what it is.
Like, what? Where's that come from? Well, if we did that all the time, we'd be like. In the top 10, it was just like crazy. And then like as fans, like I mentioned earlier, I've reverted back to being, but we're going to get battered and being negative, I admit. But it's only from what I see on the pitch. So maybe the players are feeling a little bit of that as well. Do you think MGW grew up and was playing his trade, low blocking and pressing back? No, he wasn't. He's a number 10 or a left winger, he's an attacker. And we're stifling some of these attacking players. Whoever thought we stifled Danilo, that would piss me off.
I was just going to say, I criticised Jono a lot last season because there's so many games he just sat there doing nothing. But to be fair to Jono, he wasn't getting the ball, was he? So it is to do with. So you're saying there's a lack of passing ability. But like I say, if you're under constant pressure all the time and players aren't available, then it's very difficult. I do agree 100%. A 5-yard pass should always be bread and butter to a professional footballer. There's no excuse for that. But any sort of creativity, you've got to have the right playing style, and you've got to have players making the right moves. And a lot of last season we weren't, were we? Let's be honest.
So what are you putting it down to?
They go hand in hand. Creativity and low blocking just don't go together. They're just two things that don't go together. They're like opposite poles of magnets.
Yeah. So Freuler's a prime example, isn't he? You put him in a Switzerland team where he's playing further forward. He looks like, I won't say prime Zidane. I won't go that far, but he looks like a decent player. looks a good player. You bring him back to Forest, stick him in a number 6 where he's under pressure all the time. Not so effective. So, yeah, I agree. I think the tactics are stifling us, stifling our midfield.
You got it down to the tactics. Yeah, are you in agreement with that, Dino? Do you feel it's the tactics?
I think the two are hand in hand, aren't they? The tactics are killing the progression and creativity.
I don't know where. Chat. What do you think? Is it the tactics or is it the players? Like I do feel some of the blame has to go on to the players. Yeah, I do.
Is it a poll?
But it's for them individually, Wolfie. So Danilo, you're not going to criticise him, are you?
I'm not going to criticise them as an. Look, the point I'm trying to get to. No, I'm not going to criticise them individually, but as a collective, I expect better in the midfield.
That's what I'm saying. If you can't criticise them individually, then it has to be a collective, and the collective is decided by the management formation. That's my view, anyway.
All right. Let's see some of the chat's opinions on this. What we got here, Dino, are you saying that low block cannot work? Do our players suit any other style? Honestly, Dino, questions aimed at you. The floor's yours.
Yeah, they do. I mean, we've got wing backs attacking theoretically. We've got wingers, Elanga, Jono, attacking with pace. We've got a creative number 10. We've now got a fairly creative player in Danilo. We've got another one sitting on the bench in Scarpa. We've got the players. It's just down to what they're told to do on the pitch for me. Don't know if you agree with that, Ant.
I do agree. I do agree with that. I mean, that's my point, is that those creative players are given no opportunity to create. It's simple. So they can't. Low block. I mean, what do you expect Jono? What do you expect Danilo and MGW to do tomorrow with the way that the game's going? We expect the game to go, where we're going to be 5-4-1, I mean, come on. The guys aren't. Who are they going to pass to? They get the ball. They look up. Who is it to pass to? Everybody's back.
I think this is a great point, Dino. Bring that back up from Mark.
Yeah.
Can I just say something very quickly?
Very quickly.
And that goal against Man City, that's one of the most beautiful goals I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And if you notice, it was lots of short passes. There was not very much. There was at the end, yes, but there wasn't anybody looking up and passing a 25-year-old ball.
Yeah,
25-year-old, a 25-yard long ball.
25-year-old boy.
It was because we were playing those short passes. Well, you can't always do that. I mean, let's face it, that was a one-off, wasn't it? Literally, it was a one-off.
You can't just do it like I saw that like maximum 3 times last season. We did it a bit against Brighton at home, but I don't know. You've got to see it more. There's got to be more of a balance, not 2%. It should be 20% or 50%.
Yeah, you're right, isn't it? You should see that build-up play. It may not come off every time, but I think the frustrating point is that it's in them against the best team in the world that we see something like that. I want to get into, there's so many different, really interesting points coming from the chat, and I want to kind of get into these and start discussing them. And I like what Mark's saying here. Playing attacking football against the better sides will lose, and badly. But unlike last season, we should be playing more attack-minded / open against the lower half teams, including, he's put, away from home. Ez, you're nodding away there. You're agreeing with Mark saying here. I think it's a cracking point.
100%, wasn't it? We got asked a question, I think it was by Matt SB when we did the show with him, and the difference between our away form and our home form. And it wasn't just that we were playing differently away from home, weren't we? We weren't playing the same formation, we weren't playing with the same confidence at home that we were playing away from home. And even against the lower teams, it was quite embarrassing how we were setting up, and that has to change. So I totally agree with Mark. You know, we've got to be more attack-minded going into the away games. It's nice, like I said, I think it's beneficial that we get these massive teams away from home out of the way early on. But don't forget, after that, we have got quite a decent run after we get through this first 6 or 8 games. And if in those games, I mean, if we get to that point without any points, then it might be a totally different conversation altogether. But let's say we got into it with picking up points from at home. We've got to really attack these away games against lower teams, because otherwise we're no different to Bournemouth last season. Bournemouth got away with it at the end of the season. They had a nice little run at the right time and they got away with it. But they were everybody's tip to go down. Same way Sheffield United and Luton are this season. Everybody's tipped to go down. Burnley have been tipped to stay up. But why have Burnley been tipped to stay up? Because they're going to play progressive football, and everybody still expects that. So if we can't even match Burnley away from home in games like that, then there's some questions that need to be asked. So yeah, I totally agree with Mark's point, and a great point there on how we play.
There's loads of comments. Go on. Let me just do this because there's loads of comments come in about Scarpa. Let me just bring a few of these up. I mean, Wheezy saying Cooper only hates Scarpa because he couldn't complete his Rubik's Cube. A bit of tongue in cheek there. There was loads, and I'm so tired. My eyes are glazing. Here we go. Mike saying, can we please try to get answers on the treatment of Scarpa? What's happened with him? Is he part of Cooper's plans or not? The honest answer is, Mike, we have tried to find the answer, and the answer is they don't know. They don't know what Cooper's thinking about Scarpa there. You got Sci-Fi saying 2 wing backs, not 2 wingers, plus Scarpa and MGW and a striker as well. That's 7 out of the 10 in the team not working. So that's the opposite side to the Scarpa argument. And jump in. You're gagging to...
No, Scarpa news. He has been given a new number. Squad 14. Number. He's now number 14, Thierry Henry's number. So they're obviously expecting big things.
Scarpa's number. That was his number at Palmeiras.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but your thoughts on Scarpa? I know them, but I've got Nick here saying Scarpa must be crap in training. I mean, that's a fair statement to put out there. How shit is he at training that he can't get ahead? And he's got the passing abilities, and we're looking at people on that pitch who can't pass. And Pat's saying tactics, look at Scarpa. Cooper has absolutely no time for him. Now, the debate that we tend to hear about Scarpa, especially from the happy clappy side of the fan base, is that he's almost like a luxury item that that doesn't fit into the style we've got. He was never one of Cooper's choices to bring him in, etc. Do you buy that argument, or do you see it differently?
No, I do agree with that. I don't think he was Steve Cooper's choice. Well, I mean, let's face it, he obviously wasn't his choice. I don't think Steve Cooper's been scouting the Brazilian league, and he doesn't fit into our current setup. He is not a low block player. You know, he's a progressive player. And he's not, he's not one that's going to come flying back and winning tackles and stuff. So at the moment, there's no place for him in that squad. Not my choice, by the way. I'm just saying the management's choices. Sorry, within that team, not that squad, within that team. Who's going to replace? I mean, his obvious position is Jono's. Well, that's not likely to happen. So you're not going to replace MG Dub.
What?
You're not going to play him with MG Dub because that's too attacking for Steve Cooper. So where's he going to play?
When he didn't play MG, we played somebody else, didn't he?
Pardon?
Don't talk over each other. Go on, Dino.
Sorry. For me, he could sit that number 10 role. That's where he fits. I agree with that. He's not a presser. He's not got pace. So, yes, he's a right winger at Palmeiras. He's played on the right a lot there. But he's a crosser, isn't he? He's not a speed merchant. So if we're playing this counter-attack, then Scarpa's not going to be very good running down the right. It's got to be Jono. But I think he can fit into MGW. And MGW, listen, if he doesn't play, and we're playing a 10, which I can't see us playing many times this season, by the way, he's got to play Scarpa for me. But he won't. He'll bring somebody else in that place. That's what drives him mad.
Yeah.
There's something not right. Because, guys, just a quick question. Can you guys actually see Scarpa even being safe? We got a cup game quite early on in the season. I think it's at home to Burnley as well, isn't it? In the League Cup. Can you see him being used as a cup player this season? Because I can't even see him getting into that squad where Cooper's been not playing him. Say again.
He bloody well better. He bloody well better be played in the cups at least. I mean, it's crazy waste of talent otherwise, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I just seem so far down the pecking order at the moment. It's unbelievable.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I just want to quickly address this one for Cypher. Let's see if Burnley play progressive football. If they get hammered tonight like we did against Man City early in the season. What I don't understand about this debate or this point of view that comes across is, I mean, Dina, you were there with me at Man City. Did you see Forest playing this expansive Burnley-style football that night that I missed?
It was horrendous, wasn't it? The best thing was the fans just sang for 90 minutes. That was the best thing about the whole experience. The players were like rabbit in headlights, like they were against worse than Newcastle, probably the first game of the season away. They were a bit rabbits in headlights there. They were set up, and this is probably, now you've said that, this is probably the first real time that I realised that mentality was at our club now. That it's just Alamo. It's just literally get players as far back as possible.
Yeah.
Just when we get the ball, just put it out. Just get it away. You can't last. And this is why I mentioned earlier about the extra time we'll be playing this year with refs adding on more time. It's going to be difficult for Forest unless they start getting a bit more progressive.
Yeah, and you're back at my point here, because I would say outside of the Fulham and Bournemouth game, I've never seen this so-called free-flowing football that everyone seems to have in their memories that we played at the start of the year. I just can't remember. The only one you could say, like the Spurs game, maybe the Spurs game, but that was because both teams were sitting back, and Spurs players a sit-back counter-attack team. It wasn't out of design from Forest that we were throwing, the kitchen sink at them. It's just how Spurs plays under Conte. I'm maybe guys in the chat, tell me if I've missed the game. I can't remember the game where everyone keeps saying, "Oh, we were just attacking and we got tonked down the other end." This isn't. It's hard to. You shouldn't compare Burnley's style to us and expect, if they go out and they play expansive football now. I just don't see it works. But
it wasn't expansive football. It was headless chickens.
Yeah,
that's
exactly, Tony. Exactly. Okay, so let's jump it back to Arsenal. Dino, their squad is quite scary looking, and they're designing a decent looking squad. They've bought their business in early, something that Cooper wanted to do, and he hasn't had it got for him for whatever reason this window, early in the window. They've been progressing throughout. They've had some dodgy performances preseason. I've watched pretty much all their games there. Who scares you for tomorrow, mate? Who's the one that the chat should look out for? And just pick one, or a couple, or all of them.
A pin will do. You'll find one.
Dino and Dino. Let me start with Dino. I'll come to you. Go on.
It's that. I think it's that one particular. It's that attacking midfield, isn't it? That they've got. Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli. I mean, there's some goals in there, and you can see what we did the FPO yesterday. Yes, did the FPO yesterday stream. If you're not seeing that, you must jump on because it was good fun, and jump on every week. Ez will plug it at the end. But most of those three players are in most people's Prem FPL sides, so that's what I'm worried about. That attacking prowess there.
They've all been captained as well.
But Jesus is not playing. But I think they could get away with playing without a striker and just playing those. They're just so good. The movement's good. The creativity's good. That's what I'm scared of tomorrow.
Imagine they had a striker as well. Imagine they had a 25-30 goal striker. I think.
Imagine they had a Haaland, mate.
The thing is, to be honest, against us tomorrow, they don't need a striker. In fact, they could take Jesus out, who's obviously injured. They don't need to put anybody else in.
Yeah,
just play with 10 men. They'll still be.
Oh my God.
doubt.
The crazy thing is, I think he's right.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to pick it apart then, but I couldn't.
Well, just latching on to what Dino was saying about the Arsenal midfield, and I've gone for Martinelli in my FPL team tomorrow just because of his record against Forest. He loves playing against us. Even on his debut, he scored against us.
Yeah,
so he's the one he's the one I'm scared of the most because he just seems to have an amazing game. He wasn't involved in the game at the City ground towards the back end of the season and may have made a difference, may not have, but certainly he's the one I fear the most. Saka's just pure class, and I just see him going from strength to strength, and I think he's going to be one of the top players this season, top scorers as well this season. Bit scary, so you couldn't pin it down to one, but if I'm going to pin it down to one player, I would say Martinelli is the one that really frightens me. Because are we going to talk about the lineup and formation for tomorrow?
Yeah, let's get Ansel in on who scares him, and then we'll jump to the formation and stuff. So you finished? Sorry, you finished us?
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, you go.
Yeah, go on, Anne. Who scares you in that Arsenal team? Chat, just give us one name in the chat of the Arsenal team. Who's the one you're most scared of? Go on, Anne.
Saka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think? Because he'll be up against A&R potentially.
Yeah, do I need to say anything else? I don't care who we got at left back, even Loddy. I don't care who got left back. That Saka's just. I agree with Des about Martinelli as well. By the way, he could be their top scorer this season. It wouldn't surprise me. But Saka, he's quite good, isn't he? So yeah, I didn't even consider it.
He did go off the boil at the end of last season. He looked knackered. Yeah,
he did look knackered, but he's not looking knackered right now. Unfortunately, he's not looking knackered now, unless can put a little tackling earlier on.
Yeah, but, the problem was, I remember he got injured. Do you remember he got injured when we went there last season? And I was thinking, I remember I turned to my boy, I was like, your boy Saka's off, yeah. Friggin' Reece Nelson comes on and backs 2 or whatever. For God's sake, why did he go off?
That's so destroying, isn't it? That is.
It is.
And you think of Partey, and you think of Odegaard, and you think of Rice, and you think of Saliba. Oh my God, Chris Wood against Saliba. I can't see it. I can't see it.
Oh, every time I look at a name and someone different.
Before we go onto the predicted formations, we've got to remember that we've got to pick our targets this year to get this extra progression from. Yeah. And we've got 3 weaker sides coming up. We were favourites to go down last year.
True.
And now we seem to be dropping out into the 15th, 16th place with a lot of pundits, whereas they were hammering us last year. So we've got to take this opportunity to be more positive in this chat when we can play some of the teams we should be getting results against and beating.
Yeah.
But Arsenal away first game of the season after that pre-season, we're just being realistic, guys. That's it.
Yeah.
We've got to pray and hope we get something out of it.
just to add to that, what Dino will be doing on the High Press channel is, you know how on FFTV we do the in-depth analysis of how Forest performed in their previous match? Dino's going to pick up the opposing team that we will face next week. So, for example, he will look at Sheffield United, who have Crystal Palace, if memory serves me right. Dino will be assessing their performance to help prepare you guys as to what to expect and how they've done. And obviously, as the season goes in, the picture gets sharper, and we'll get more and more in-depth analysis from Dino. So make sure you subscribe to the High Press. Just do !THP in the chat if you're not already subscribed. And same with the FFTV Premier League channel. If you do !FFTV, it gives you all 3 links to all the channels. Let's move on and talk about the starting formation for Forest. As you brought this one up, we talked about it on at the barbecue on Sunday, but for those who weren't there and those who paid and didn't come for whatever reason, what are your thoughts here? Are we expecting, is it to be expected, the low block 5-back, or do you see something different? And who would you put in?
Yeah, well, I think formation-wise, I think that is where we're going. But what we didn't know at the time is if we were having a goalkeeper coming in. So Turner coming in goal, I think, does give me a lot more confidence than starting. I would have rather, if we didn't have Turner in, I'd tell you right now, I would rather start with George Shelby than any of the other options that we've got at the moment. So good from his point of view. In fact, I'd probably put Shelby on the bench tomorrow as a backup goalkeeper. But in terms of the back 3, back 5, this is a problem. We'll play wing backs, but they're not going to be playing as wing backs. They're going to be playing as a back 5. And although I think we'd all agree that Nico is a much better wing back than Serge, I don't think he's going to be having much opportunity to get forward. So Serge has let me down a little bit in pre-season, but he's one of those players that when it's game day, he usually brings it with him. I don't think pre-season's his thing, really. I would be tempted starting a back 5, but I'd be tempted to start with Serge as a right wing back stroke right back, because I think they'll be sitting too deep, but it's not going to be getting forward. But we're probably more chance of our left back getting forward in that formation. So let me go with my back 5.
Give it to your back. Give it to your back 5, and then Ant will do the midfield with you.
Yeah. So I would say Serge I'd start with at right back. And with what's available, I would actually go with Bolly, and we've been told Felipe will be in contention for tomorrow. So Bolly, Felipe, and McKenna as my centre backs, and I'd go with Aina as my left wing back. I'd rather have Bolly in. If we're going to have those 3, and Felipe is back. I know Worrell plays better with Felipe, but I think Worrell's had such a bad pre-season. I'd rather see Bolly paired up with Felipe on that side of the defence. But yeah, and you want to take over with the midfield? And
midfield, and go on midfield.
You know what I'm like.
What formation?
I just want to say, we're teaming a 5-3.
Yeah. My midfield is
5-2-2-1.
Yeah, my midfield is Danilo Yates and Mangala is my midfield.
Would you not play Freuler in this one? Bit of experience?
No.
Checking out.
I've done with
Quixote. Would you have a look at Quixote?
On the bench.
On the bench, okay.
He looked clumsy this season, Quixote did. Yeah. He's looked right off the pace for me.
Yeah, he has, yeah. A lot of people saying Serge as a centre-back in the back 5 works. I mean, we covered this last year. I'd rather go Biancone if you were going to spice it up as a centre-back, personally. The only problem I have with Serge at centre-back is his height. I know he does leap like a salmon, but he is still...
But I'd rather just on that point...
I don't think he's disciplined enough for centre-back. I don't think he's disciplined enough. He'll be wandering up the pitch.
Yeah.
Plus,
with a height thing, you're not going to get... Sorry. I was just going to say, Arsenal aren't going to be whipping crosses in. So that's height thing. I understand your point, but height thing I don't think would be an issue. But just like the guy said, he leaps like a salmon as well. I think he's one of the best in the air out of that back 5.
He's a bit like you, isn't it, Ez? Leaps like
I've got a great leap.
God, Dino, what are you going to say?
Anyway.
God, Dino, sorry, you going to say something?
Don't matter. Let's
okay,
move on to
I'm coming to you anyway. Because I want to watch the game in a sec. 2 up front. Well, the 1 and the 1.
God, I just don't know, mate. I wouldn't play Wood. I would actually play. Is Jono fit?
Yeah, I don't see him starting there, to be honest. But you call it.
Well, yeah, it might be for other reasons, but MGW at the 10, and then you need some pace up front. So Elanga or Jono.
Okay.
I don't know whether if we're going to chop a counter attack, then I would do that.
I reckon we're going to see Deadwood up front. I really do. But
yeah, because I think they'll hold the ball up, and then we'll all come rushing out, but we won't come rushing out.
He doesn't hold the ball up,
and then he'll be like, "Who the hell do a pass to?"
Yeah.
So you may as well play some pace and really get, make them think. I think Keith said earlier, just make them think a bit.
Yeah, make them panic, make them get complacent. All right, Dino, start with you then. Quick score prediction to round us off.
Me?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Last time I checked, that was your name.
3-0 Arsenal, I'm afraid.
3-0 Arsenal, bloody hell.
Yeah.
I've given us a goal, so I've gone 3-1 with Danilo scoring our goal, mate.
Danilo scoring it.
Danilo scoring.
And
can't see scoring a goal if I'm honest. 3-0 Arsenal. I said the same last year, I think. And I was wrong then.
On that depressing note, guys, it's time to go watch Burnley Man City.
What about you? Hold on.
He's going to say a draw.
Even
that backdrop looks like a fence.
I watched Predictor League earlier on. I know his prediction.
I don't want to. All right,
we're going to find out who the treacherous Forest fans are, who they're against Forest, all that lot.
Let's get some in here, look.
There was a lot of Judases. I'm going to say, and on this panel, Arsenal are going to win. Sorry, I just can't see it, man. Best. Look, I'll say this: best we can hold out for is a low block 0-0. That's it. Block out the middle, force Martinelli and Saka to do the work.
I'll take
and then
that.
pray.
Accepting mediocrity again, aren't we?
Exactly. Back to Anne's point on mediocrity. All right, guys, we will be back tomorrow with the watch along, kicking off from 12:15. Remember, the game itself is on TNT Sport. Now it's not BT. We do recommend that you watch the whole build up. I think the build up's about an hour and a half. So make sure you do enjoy that build up if you've got TNT Sports. We'll be kicking off at 12:15 for the watch along. Then we'll have the player ratings and the match reaction after that. It's back to the full program. Oh my God, it's actually happening tomorrow, guys. It really is here. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for it, man. I'm scared now. I'm scared. We'll have the post live stream will be on Sunday. Loads and loads of content coming your way this week and for the rest of the season. So make sure you subscribe to both, or to all three, actually: Forest Fan TV, to FFTV High Press, and to FFTV Premier League. You're going to need like 12 hours in the day jumping through all the channels, keeping up. So look, joking aside, there's a lot of work that's going on behind the scenes. And all we ask in return is just you hit that like if you haven't on the stream today, subscribe to the 3 channels. And that's, returning kindness for what we're doing. That's all we ask for. If you're listening to this on the podcast, please don't forget to leave a 5-star review and follow the podcast. We'll see you for the watch along tomorrow. Come on, you Reds.